What's up, you guys? Some guys, new video today. I'm here to do an interesting type of video, kind of on the lines of what Mega Capital G has done in the past. He always talks about RT Fuels can come back. He's talked about the return of Trishula. He's talked about a lot of things on his channel, and I watch his videos probably the most out of like every channel. And I like his insight into why he feels cards can come back. And I kind of wanted to go along with my own version of that and say the top 5 cards I feel that are on the ban list right now that I feel could come back. I'm not saying all 5 of these should come back. I would say one of these could be released on the new list. That'd be really nice if we could get one of these cards back. And I'm just going to give my reason why. This is just personally my opinion. I know a lot of people are going to say I'm crazy for even listing these cards, that these are probably the top 5 worst cards that could possibly ever come back. And I'm sure people are going to try to come up with reasons to why other cards should come back. But that's kind of the point of this video too, is I want to open up the comments section like I always do for people to say their top 5 cards they feel that should come back and why. Just give good explanations to that. I notice you guys are really into that. You guys really put a lot of thought into your comments, and I really do appreciate it. So these are just the top 5 cards. I looked over the list a couple minutes ago, and I felt, these are the cards I feel that could come back. I'm going to give my reason why I feel they can come back, and you guys can, either agree with me or disagree with me, tell me I'm crazy, but these are the cards I feel can come back and why. First off, Magician of Faith. Now, a lot of people are going to say, God, why Magician of Faith? Why would you ever bring that card back? It flips back and gets you a spell. This is very true, but I'm also going to account for the fact that I feel more spell cards are going to be hit this coming January in the list. Cards like 7-Star Sword, cards like Dragon's Ravine, cards like that will probably be hit, or they'll be limited or something like that. Another thing is that cards like Monster Reborn, cards like Premature Burial, Snatch Steal, Change of Heart, all those really good broken cards that you used to be able to get back with Magician of Faith, they're not legal. You're not going to be able to flip Magician of Faith and get back a power card like that. The only power card that's really left in this game, there are 2 of them, and it's Dark Hole and Book of Moon. I also throw Mystical Space Typhoon in there, for I feel Typhoon is definitely probably one of the best spell cards in the game, like I've said in past videos. Other thing is that Magician of Faith is slow, you guys. You have to set her, and it needs to flip, and it needs to resolve. Now, there's a lot of ways to just kill monsters without having to do really anything. Dragon decks these days, they can Blaster Pop it, they can Scrap Dragon Pop it, they can do so many things to get over it. It's easy Crimson Blade or bait. It's very easy to just run over this card, and even though you might get a spell card back, it really doesn't benefit you that much. I feel that there aren't that many broken spell cards in the game. The only deck I could see really benefiting from this is possibly Spellbooks, but at the same time, they really don't like to flip their monsters outside of Blue Boy with Spellbook of Fate, and I also think Spellbook of Fate is going to get hit on this list. So that's my reasoning behind Magician of Faith. A lot of people are probably going to say I'm crazy, you could never bring this card back, but really think about it, guys. Think about what spells you can get back. If you take away spellbooks, if you take away all these theme decks, think of a regular deck when you're building a deck. Outside of Dark Hole, Typhoon, and Book of Moon, what other spells are there that you're going to be able to get back? I mean, sure, you can get back a Forbidden Lands, you can get back some cards like Tenki, depending on what deck you play. But outside of that, you're really not going to get anything back that I can see that's really just like earth-shattering. There's no Reborn, there's no Premature Burial, there's no form of stealing monsters outside of Creature Swap. There's not really that many options. So that's my reasoning behind Magician of Faith. Take it or leave it. Next card is Heavy Storm. Only reason I want this card back is set 5 go is a pain in the ass. Like, seriously. Like, so many decks do that. Dragon decks are even doing that. They're setting 4 and passing. And, you don't have a Heavy Storm, and you have to fight through all the back row. Granted, we do have 3 Mystical Space Typhoon. I feel that if Heavy Storm came back, Typhoon could get hit to 2 or 1. Or probably 2, the way it used to be. And then Heavy Storm, the only thing I liked about Heavy Storm is that it made it so that people did not set 5 and go. Because set 5 go is very unhealthy for Yu-Gi-Oh! And having to fight through 5 back row is really, really annoying. So I could see that Heavy Storm could come back for that reason. I know a lot of people are going to be like, you're crazy, we're never bringing this card back. There are cards like Starlight Road, there are cards like The Huge Revolution is Over. There are ways to stop this card. So I'm not going to say Heavy Storm needs to come back. A lot of people probably are happy that it's gone and not coming back. But it's definitely something that I can see happening. Next card is Imperial Order. This card's been gone forever. Now, why would I want this card back? This card is basically negate all spell cards, you have to pay 700 points, or you destroy this card. Now, here's something really interesting, is you just activate Imperial Order, your opponent can chain Typhoon, they can chain Dust Tornado, they can, do whatever, and they can get rid of the card upon its activation. So the card's not as impenetrable as people think. This card's actually really easy to counter. Cards like Breaker, cards like Scrap Dragon, cards like Draco Sack, all those cards can pop this card without even having to try. The only thing I could see is Imperial Order would, obviously hurt spellbooks, like huge. But outside of that, the card doesn't really completely kill your deck. It hits some cards in your deck, but at the same time, this is one thing that people need to realize. Your opponent activating this card is still the one paying a bigger cost. Not only can they not activate their spells, but they cannot they have to pay 700 life points. Now I know you're like 700 measly life points. You know, if you do that 3 or 4 times, you're looking at over 2,000 points of damage that was self-inflicting. And I feel that that's something that a lot of people fail to forget about this card, is that you can chain Typhoon to Imperial Order. You can get rid of Imperial Order in so many ways this format, and possibly even next format, that if the card were to come back, you know, most every deck would run it, obviously, and you would have advantage with it, but I feel that it's also very easy to get rid of. So for that reason, I feel Imperial Order could come back. And if it did, it wouldn't be like the most ridiculous thing that ever happened in Yu-Gi-Oh! It would just promote like smarter plays, and it would make it so that you would have to go to Scrap Dragon, Dragosack, depending on what deck you're playing. You would need to main deck and or side deck ways to get out of Imperial Order, because it could be a problem. And it only being a one of, you're not always guaranteed to draw it. So that's my reason on Imperial Order. You know, share your thoughts below. But it's definitely a card that people ask me if it could come back and why, and that's my real reasoning. Is I feel that as good of a card as it is, the person that activates it is also paying more of a price than the opponent they're playing against, because the opponent may not even have spell cards in their hand. They may have already used them, or they may not even need them to win the game. So Imperial Order could hold an opponent at bay. So that's my reason behind that. I'm going to say this card for last, obviously. Trishula. I'm 100% with what Mega Capital G said. This card can come back. You know, it would have been broken had Dragon Rulers been able to use it the way we thought the OCG list was our list. But outside of that, I feel that Trishula is a really good card. You know, a lot of decks can make it, but making a level 9 is not super easy. Like, even in Dragons, you can't simply summon a dragon and then throw a level 2 tuner and make Trishula. You can't do that. It needs a tuner plus 2 or more non-tuner monsters, so you would have to find a different way to do it. I know you can do it with like debris combos, but I mean, dragons are going to get hit next format, so I'm talking about next format. I feel Trishula could come back. There's a lot of decks that could utilize it, and I mean, let's face it, there's Valor, there's Fiendish Chain, there's Breakthrough Skill. There's a lot of ways to stop this card. This card is not impossible to beat. This card can easily be handled, and I mean, like Cap G basically just said it the best way. And I mean, you know, go check out his video for why he feels Trishula could come back, and it came back in the OCG. And I mean, the card's being ran in Dragons, obviously, because they have ways of making it, and I'm sure a lot of other decks have ways of making it. But I feel that it's been gone so long that people kind of forgot that, you know, now we have answers to it. We have a lot of answers to it, and if the format shapes up to where we're main decking cards like Fiendish Chain, Breakthrough Skill, Effect Valor, all those cards, a Trishula can really not be a problem. It's like, alright, once you Valor it or Fiendish Chain it, it's only a 2700 beater. That's really not that hard to get around anymore in Yu-Gi-Oh! So, that's for my reasoning behind Trishula. I'm sure people will have better reasons, but that's my real reason. And last but certainly not least, the number one card I think that should come back is Royal Oppression. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not going to argue with anyone on this. I'm just going to literally just state the facts. This card is not broken. This card is a lifesaver in Yu-Gi-Oh! The fact that you have to pay 800 to negate a special summon. That's 1/10 of your life. You're going to have to activate this card when you feel the time is right. You need to lock your opponent down and then Royal Oppression whatever they summon. Had this card still been around, Dragon Rulers would have a hell of a hard time getting around in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, because they're not guaranteed to draw MST or draw the double blaster or the blaster guard to pop this card or the blaster Trigon to pop this card. This card, as good as it is one of the best trap cards in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! There are 3 Mystical Space Typhoons, there are 3 Dust Tornadoes, there is Royal Decree, there is Breaker, there is Twister, you name it, there are countless ways to stop this card. And I feel that this card is one of the most, like, fair cards in the game for the fact that special summons happen every single turn, multiple times a turn, every turn of Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's face it, I've watched matches upon matches from the ARG circuits, and literally, I've just counted and thought to myself before I made this video, there were no normal summons going on that game. It was literally special, 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 attack, attack, attack. Every single turn, it was the exact same thing. There were special summons out the kazoo, literally, over and over and over again. And I feel that Oppression, as good as it is, you can only stop so many things. If you realistically think about it, and your Oppression does not get hit, you can hit 9 special summons, which sounds like a lot, but the way Dragons play, that's really not a lot. They can really just, you know, they got 12 Dragons, they have multiple ways of bringing them up, they, tutor other monsters to get out cards, like Maxi gets out Redox, Trigon and Guard get out Blaster, Wind monsters get out Tempest, and Water monsters get out Tidal. So I feel that Royal Oppression would definitely be a card that could come back, and it might even stabilize the format. It might make it so that even though special summon decks will still be heavily played, it'll make you think a lot, you know, smarter before going into those plays. You'll really look for a way to stop this card instead of playing into this card. And your opponent will also have to think. Once again, this is one thing, is even though it is, both of you can activate it, It's the fact that you need to think of what special summon am I stopping? Am I stopping the initial special summoning? And if I stop it too late, can my life points go so low I won't be able to pay for it, or I can't afford to pay for it? The thing is, you're going to take 800 points each time you negate something, and it doesn't take that many hits to knock you down to 0. So I feel that those are the reasons why Royal Oppression can come back. But yeah, that's all I gotta say, you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was just a kind of to make up for yesterday's kind of troll video about the ban list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. List your top 5 cards you feel could come back and why. This is just my personal opinion. I'm sure I missed plenty of other cards that would have been better options, but this is just what was on the top of my head, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment below with what your thoughts are on these 5 cards. What 5 cards would you like to see come back and why? And what do you feel is going to happen in the next format? Remember, this is for the next format. This is not for this current format, obviously. It's a little too late. It's a little too late, obviously, for Royal Oppression and Storm and Imperial Order and Trish to come back, but this is for next format. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think one of these 5 cards has the potential coming off of the list? Why? Yes or no? And just leave your thoughts below, and hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thumbs it up, and thank you for watching.